You're now listening to Words of Radiance with Dr. Troy Munson.
Hello and welcome. I'm Dr. Troy Munson at Infinity Whole Health. This is the end of the year of 2022, and we're approaching this time for pruning my apple trees. And so this is called pruning the suckers out of your life. Now, in this year of 2022, this has been a year of yes. So those of you who've been with me have maybe said yes to a lot of things you wouldn't normally have done. And yeses in a good way. We've talked about yeses being a commitment and no being a decision. And as we've made commitments and been responsible for things that, we've needed to say yes in our life and go in a different place, in a better place, I don't like to say safer, but I think in a place where it's better for us. It's better for what we want to achieve. It's better for many things. And in honoring that, now that we've got these yeses, now it's starting to realize, okay, some things I said yes to, probably shouldn't have. But that's a great learning moment. Wonderful. I'm starting to learn. But some things that I was afraid of saying yes to were actually amazing and awesome. Okay, I'm starting to get to that. So I have apple trees, and they're dwarf apples. I have 2 of them. And they've been planted now for probably almost a decade. And I trim them back and they look completely skeletal every winter. And what they do, though, is because the root system is getting more and more dynamic and bigger for them, they explode up with a lot of branches that go straight up and a lot of fruit. That's what I want them to do. So as I train these apple trees, I'm developing 3 or 4 branches on each tree. You may do it as you wish, but here in Washington, I'm on the west side, on the wet side, if you will, or the side that is not the desert. 2/3 of Washington state is desert, and most people don't realize that. But on the east side, where they grow all the apples, or typically grow all the apples, they have, the Columbia River Basin, all these rivers that they'll literally have all these apple farmers all around these waterways to pump water into these orchards and have it warm enough so that they can make some really amazing apples. And they do. Their apples are fantastic. And so for my apple trees, though, anybody who's done apples before realize that you typically tend to prune apple trees and other fruit trees between that Christmas time and New Year's. Now, some climates say, hey, you should actually wait a little bit further until the last hard frost. Just know that there's different theories out there. But when it comes to our climate, we tend to prune at this time. And so here I am in end of November, and I'm already eyeing, how am I going to shape these apple trees? Which branches am I going to start pruning pretty soon? Because I want these apple trees completely dormant. And then I want to go in, I want to trim all these suckers off that have gone straight up, that are sucking energy out of the tree. When I get all those suckers off, I'm going to have these branches that are they look like twigs and there's almost nothing on them. And then come springtime, they're going to explode out and they're going to have all of these buds, and it's going to be beautiful, all these blossoms, these apple blossoms. And then I'm going to start working with those to make sure I've got enough fruit on each branch and not too much that it's a detriment to it, but enough that it makes sense for how thick that branch is and how much fortitude those root systems have in order to develop that fruit. So we have now said yes over this year, and now we've got all of these things, and our tree is grown inside, so to speak, and we've done a lot of soul searching. We've done a lot of pruning, even some thoughts inside of us, and said yes to better thoughts, and maybe started that kind of limited pruning of some negative things, but now we're going to go after some bigger things. It's time to get reflective over what we've been through over this year and say, okay, where do I need to be doing some pruning? Where do I need to take all these yeses that I've taken and now begin to say, you know what? It's time to start honoring what I want to create in my own life so that it looks like how I would love it to look as I move forward. Because each year we're going to build on a new thing. And you're going to find come in December that I'm going to start talking about your one word. What is your one word for 2023? I've already got some inklings of what my one word is likely going to be. So I'm kind of trying it on right now and working with it, because normally the word hits me like the word yes. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's totally this year. Definitely 2022 is yes. It's the year of yes. Like last year was upgrade. Oh my gosh, it was perfect. It was absolutely what we needed to do. We needed to upgrade in many, many different ways. And we didn't want to use the C word of change. We wanted to use a word that we like better, like upgrade. So I give you that as a gift. If you haven't heard last year's stuff, upgrade. You might try some upgrades in your life. How can I begin to upgrade things? Can I upgrade to organic food? Can I upgrade my coffee to a more organic coffee? Can I upgrade my chocolate to a fair trade and more dark? And so where can I upgrade? Can I upgrade, my sleeping? So I'm upgrading to 10 o'clock instead of waiting till 11:30 to go to bed. So I'm going to upgrade when I get up in the morning, and I'm going to have a different routine. I'm going to upgrade my spiritual walk. I'm going to do everything. I'm going to upgrade in every way aspect of my life that I can. And then when we hit 2022, we said, yes, we're going to say yes to the things because we've done all these upgrades. Now let's say yes to the stuff that we really want to have in our life, not the things that we shouldn't have. So we're going to say yes to the right things. And as we do that, now we've got all of this stuff. And we're like, you know what? Maybe this is a bit too much. I think I'm going to prune back. And now I'm going to work on some things and make sure that I don't have some suckers in my life, because I said yes to some things because I wanted to try that out. They're actually sucking the life out of me. So let me go ahead and prune those and now pull back on some of that stuff, but develop the areas of yes that I said in a more fruitful, more grandeur and a beautiful way. So that's kind of where we are. So in this time of celebration, as we approach this month of December, let's celebrate. Let's say, wow, look what we've been able to do. Hey, there's some things that have been tough, but out of it came some amazing stuff. But now I can see that I want to prune some of the things back in this area because I don't want to experience that anymore. I'm glad I experienced it. It was hard. It was awesome. It was the worst of times. It was the best of times, all of that. But now I'm going to prune even more and make sure that I get what it is that I'm really looking for. And I'm going to develop these other areas that didn't do quite what I wanted to do, but I can tell I want to go that way. So that is the pruning of our whole life. So some of you are like, I'm not sure what I should do. Then I'm going to give you some ideas of what you can do. So you might go from situation to situation. What's going on with my kids? Where do I need to be pruning in what I'm doing with my children? Do I need to pull back on some of the things? Maybe I'm watching a bit too much television. Maybe I'm on my phone a little bit too much. Maybe I'm reading a little bit too much. Maybe I need to focus 2 or 3 hours a week or more, if you feel led, even more than that, on your kids. Hey, having candid conversations with them, finding out what's going on in their life. How can I begin to help you in saying yes or upgrading in your life so that it's not so difficult for you? Maybe you've got some friends that aren't so good in your life, and you've realized, how do I prune that? How do I pull back? What are some things that I should be doing? And so maybe you can help your kids in trying to really put a list together that says, these are the friends and the qualities of friends that I would like to have. Now, how do I find them? And this is kind of an experiment with both parents and children. Let's say that you've got a job, and that job, whether it's schooling kids, maybe you're homeschool parent, maybe you're out in the workforce and you've got a situation that's always kind of comes up. How can I prune that? I believe you're going to get some really great insight to that. That's going to come naturally to you if you've realized, you know what? I need to prune this. I think I'm going to ask for some guidance. Holy Spirit, God, whatever, Jesus, whoever that is most influential to you in your spiritual walk will bring you guidance into doing that. And so I would encourage you that way to look for that. But if you want some other ideas, then I would start maybe doing some writing. What is my ideal job? What would I really feel fulfillment in doing? What areas fulfilled me in my job this last year and what areas didn't? These are great ideas to start figuring out, where do I need to prune and where do I need to help fertilize and encourage growth in this area. So begin to do that even with your work, maybe relationship with your spouse. Where would I like to grow and develop our relationship. Hey, these are hard conversations. I didn't say they were easy, but I did say that the reward is amazing as you do this, and you get clarity in that relationship, and you get clarity in what you expect and what they expect. Maybe it's you see some pruning that needs to happen on your body and in your diet and in your thought life. And so there's some fantastic ways, like any one of these situations, whether it's your job, whether it's your kids, whether it's your spouse, whether it's your body, whether it's your work ethic, whether it's your thoughts about you, about life, about the world in general, about God, what have you. I always recommend doing some writing. And I notice I didn't say journaling. Some people are natural journalers. Great if you are. But I'm talking about getting stuff out of your head onto paper and then tearing it up. Don't leave it lying around. These are things that are kind of plaguing us, that maybe slow us down, that sabotage us, that don't do well and are not honoring to us as a continuously growing and becoming unfoldment of us as individuals, as beings that we are, that we're literally infinite, and that we're just expanding all the time into greater and greater depths of love. And in that journey, how can I help a little bit? Well, we can get things out of our head that are blocking us by doing some expressive writing. And I've done some podcasts on that. Feel free to access those because it's very helpful. But just as an overview, you can take any topic or any content in any way, shape, or form, throw a heading on a piece of paper, and you're going to write like mad. You're not going to wonder, oh gosh, what should I write? Maybe this sentence should look like this. No, none of that. No sentence structure, no periods, no commas, no capitals. You're just going to write as fast as humanly possible on anything that even is remotely troubling to you. And you might start with some superficial things like, what's my feelings on exercise? You can write everything good, bad, and different. What's my feelings on organic food? I think it's a load of crap, or I think it's good, or I think it's expensive, or whatever it is that you think is going to happen. You can just write all of your thoughts and feelings down about it. And after a minute or two, when you kind of run out of ideas, or if you run almost 5 minutes, fine. It should be comfortable. It shouldn't be stressful. It shouldn't be irritating, and it shouldn't be disconcerting in any way, shape, or form. It should just flow. As soon as you feel like you're done, great, tear up the piece of paper. Get those thoughts out of your head. As we upgrade and say yes to things and prune, we want to let those wonderful things come into our life, not in a wantingness. And if you're wondering about the wantingness, why I say it that way, catch my video on wanting versus appreciation. And so why some things work when we ask for them, and some things when we want them don't seem to come into our existence or our experience here on this planet. So I talk about the mechanisms of how that works in a much more simplistic way that most people can grasp, and kind of have these aha moments about why you may be continually getting what you're getting in your life instead of really what you want. Because what we want is what we want to happen right now, but our brain hears it differently. As we go through this writing experience, the brain, and what I'm expecting is, as you write at breakneck speeds, you're going to trick your brain. It's not going to filter. We're going to get beyond that filter and start writing, and all of a sudden something's going to pop out of your head that you had no idea that it's been running in there forever. And when you look at it directly, you're like, man, who would want this running in their head? This is totally keeping me down. Correct. I want to get those things out of your head and acknowledge that they're in there. And then you begin to write on those things and get them out and start making better decisions. Because decision is the most powerful thing that we can do. And to decide for something beautiful and loving and awesome, instead of deciding for something fearful and negative and confining, is a great step in the right direction. So that's part of our pruning. That's part of saying yes. It's part of upgrades. We're working on every part of you, not just nutritionally, not just chiropractically, but mentally, emotionally, relationally, everything. We want all aspects of your life expanding into more beautiful and amazing ways, because we need more humans out there living their beautiful existence in the exact way that they would love, that what feeds them and that what comes naturally to them and what what's passionate for them. Every one of us has something different. Nobody is the same. Your stuff's going to be different than another. Don't judge your stuff based on somebody else's ideas. They're your ideas. It's what makes you, you, and me. Don't be me. Be you. I don't want to be you. I just want to be me. I'm really good at being me. Be really good at being you. Find out what you're passionate about and let that start coming out in deeper and more amazing ways. You'll find it affect every aspect of your life. So prune away the things that shouldn't be there. Let's dig up the soil and fertilize and really encourage growth in areas that we want. So as we approach the end of 2022, we're starting that springboard effect for 2023 to make it even more amazing than this year was. So hope that helps. Hope that meets you at a good place. If you have wins and challenges and all that stuff, that's okay. Happy to shoot me an email or a text. I'd love to hear about it, or even give you some words of encouragement or ask you some questions that may lead you in deeper ways to letting go and letting yourself just be awesome, because you are. Until next time, I'm Dr. Troy Munson at Infinity Whole Health.